And now we get to do, hey, welcome to my podcast, His Man Cave.
We're missing the His Man Cave portion.
Yeah, we're missing Johnny. It's not that he died.
We're just missing him.
We're missing him.
Sometimes I lay awake at night and just think about his burly lips cascading over my Moroccan skin.
Sometimes I miss him like the desert misses the rain. Never.
I miss him like a julepine orchid misses the full moon.
You know, I had to say a phrase to my father yesterday that I never thought I'd have to say.
I'm dying to hear this.
So my boss sent me home because I was puking.
Yeah.
And so my dad goes, so I'm assuming that means you don't feel well. So maybe you don't want to move that motor stand. Now, this motor stand's as big as a fucking truck.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. And I'm like, no, I just don't want to shit myself over a motor stand. And I had to repeat it 4 times for him to fucking get the hint that it just wasn't happening yesterday.
Yeah.
It did happen. Because you haven't. My father could be mistaken for all the miracle he pulls to get shit off could be Moses. That motherfucker is just like, I love him to death, but he'll be like, he'll just hint that some shit needs to happen. Oh, by the way, I was just thinking that you might want to clear this entire 50 acres of redwoods. Oh, I don't want to do that. Day 3. Not even 2 trees in. I'm going to be here all summer. I'm 34 years old. You're pissing in my fucking summer, Dad.
Oh, man.
Of course, my father is the one that coined the phrase, you could have won that better. And then I remember my grandpa...
Has he never heard Vin Diesel's famous quote? It doesn't matter whether you win by an inch or a mile, winning's winning.
When it applies to him, yes. He understands it. But I watched my grandpa pull that shit on him, and you watched my dad's brain stop. He's like, Carl, you could have won that better. And Dad's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he just looked at him like he had literally lost his fucking mind. And I looked at them and don't feel so good, does it?
Yeah. Not feeling so hot now, are you? Why don't you go clear them 50 acres of redwoods?
Fucking...
Help
like,
ease
you gotta
your pain.
understand, my dad has called me over and he's like, hey, got grandma's, like, it's a 14 by 80 mobile home. And she's like, yeah, I got it in the creek. We're about to set it on fire. And I'm like, pardon? Like, I go over there and he's literally out there, no water hose, no way to put this fucking fire out. He's got a fucking bobcat and he's just sitting there and he just lights this motherfucker up. And it's just... he doesn't care. Greenhouse gases, black smoke. And he goes, we don't want to push it in there too much. We got to get the wiring out when it's over with. And I'm like, what the fuck's going to do that? And he just looks right at me like, you know. You know exactly who's going to.
We could have gotten the wiring out before we burned it.
We don't have a relative that's like real good at that. Like, anyway. So, and what was really sad is my grandmother had lived in that trailer for a while. Like years.
So a whole lot of burn.
Just a lot of memories. Just fucking going up, and Dad's like, well, it won't be long. And then, of course, like, they've torn all the siding off of it and stuff like that. So the funniest part about it was how disappointed my dad was that the standard time for a mobile home to go down was 15 minutes, so that he didn't think he was going to spend all day fucking with this trailer. And he's like, that motherfucker's been burning for 2 hours. I was like... he said, shit, I guess we're doing this all day. And I'm like, what is this we? Why do your plans become my plans? And then my brother, he's no help. He calls me and he's like, your dad's not going to live forever. Help your father. That's terrible advice.
What if he does live forever, though?
Oh, God.
Man,
I'm just kidding.
I kind of, like, we were talking about this a little bit in the pre-show, but I kind of really want to get, like, I both do and don't right now want to get into a big internet argument for no fucking reason.
They're no fun.
I know they're no fun.
I want them to be fun, but they're never fun.
I know. I keep having this illusion that it'll be fun.
Like, unless you could pick something, even if you wanted to pick something you know you'd win, like squares or square, you'd still lose. Like, because you can just, your internet, that's the one you should do. Get on Twitter and just say, squares are square. And if they start, I guarantee you that if it does take off, that's what you'll be famous for. And your only argument is they're still square. Even if you square a square, it only becomes a cube, which is an 8-sided square.
Yeah, it's just 8 squares right there.
The only time that a square is not a square is if it's a nerd. Then it's just a square.
Yeah. But you can still square that square.
That's true.
That's how new nerds are made.
You know what I heard somebody say the other night when we were out at the Monroe show, Gabby? I wish we could find a place to line dance. And I was like, did we travel back into the fucking 90s? Like, all of a sudden, Clint Black and Garth Brooks are going to come out, and they're just like, we're going to sing a song, get ready to line dance. Yeehaw!
What were their concerts like if everybody was line dancing?
That's... I know that the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo was always fucking... Whew. I remember how disappointed I was that Lyle Lovett was that ugly in person. Because I was like, they're like, we're going to the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. It's going to be awesome. And then I'm in the stands, and I look up, and they're like, and coming on the stage is Lyle Lovett. And all I knew about Lyle Lovett is that he was married to Julia Roberts. And Julia Roberts was a bona fide boner maker. And we were at a church outing, and all of a sudden that ugly fucking thing comes on the stage, and I went, oh, my God, there's hope. And that's when I realized money and confidence go a long fucking way. Because he knows he's ugly.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter, because he fucked Julia Roberts. If me and him die at the same time and go to heaven, he's got one up on me. Gotta look at him and be like, yeah, you were kind of a douchebag when you were all rich and famous, but you boned Julia.
I don't think God would give you credit for boning Julia Roberts.
I feel like that all of us...
I feel like after... God, what was the West Coast Choppers, dude?
Jesse James? That was Sandra Bullock.
That was Sandra Bullock? Oh, sorry. I get Sandra Bullock and Julia Roberts confused.
How? There's 2 different sizes of teeth.
I don't see teeth.
You should. You could see fucking Julia Roberts' teeth from space. I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth.
But when the mouth is like that,
I mean, that's one of
it's hard not to look at it.
I'm going to tell you right now, we were talking to a friend of mine about being single, because you just recently got out of being single.
I got out of being single, and I got that new relationship smugness. You know that smugness that comes along when you're like 3 months into dating, and you're just, and I can honestly say with confidence, no couple is as happy as we are, because it's a downward spiral, which means we're literally at peak happiness. We are happier than you. You may be more well-connected and well-adjusted and have a lot more history and, you know, share and everything else, but we are legit happier.
Right. Well, somebody asked me about it, and I told them that I am fucking terrified at the thought of being single in this world. Right now? No, you got to understand why. Mm-hmm. So it's part of a joke I'm writing. And, and because we're comics and this is a...
How bad is this joke? Like, I've never seen you hit the mic thing before. Little mic arm.
Yeah, but it's like a power cord.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Godzilla's coming. Sorry.
Is he about to play Johnny Be Good?
What if he did? Anyway, so we're sitting there. And the thing that gets me is this person that we were talking to, she's a female. Mm-hmm. She looked at me and she goes, Glenn, I don't know what you're worried about. You just have to accept the fact that body positivity means that you have to lower your standards to what that person looks like. And my rebuttal was, and you're going to love it, in zebra culture, 98% of all female zebras look almost identical to every other fucking zebra. And the dude zebras are still fucking picky about where they poke it.
Yep.
My point is, we are not all created equal. And that sometimes Rita is just unfuckable.
Yeah. Well, it's not just that. The brazen balls to look at you and go, you have to lower your standards.
Right.
Where do you get that level of brazen balls? I don't understand that. Like, the concept of that is like, oh, you have a thing that you like, right? You can't like that anymore.
Right.
Like, clearly you can't. You have to adjust to the world. which I think is bullshit because the world has never adjusted to me.
Right. That's a cold hard fact. That's not even.
Well, let me rephrase that for everybody that's looking at a white cis male being like, the world has never adjusted for me. That hasn't been ruthlessly organized in order for my benefit.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we were talking about comedy and everything, and they're all like, well, you need to change your jokes. You need to change the way you speak. You need to change. And fuck that. Here's the thing. Standards are not something that I frown upon. Because when I'm talking about, like, I have standards of people I'll have conversations with.
Yeah.
There are people that just based on vision alone, I will decide I do not want to have a conversation with them.
And also, the true counterpoint to that would be to say to that female, oh, so you'll just fuck any guy that asks. Because you have to lower your standards to them.
What I don't like is the backtracking whenever they're like, oh, but look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you mean? Well, I like dad bods. Because like we were talking about with Tyler, Tyler's all ripped up looking good. And women are judging him because the motherfucker goes to the gym.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
Yeah.
I feel bad about myself because I don't get up and go do anything. And that's
the natural response you're supposed to feel when you don't get up and do something. You either learn to live with feeling bad about it, or you get up and do something. Those are the two options. There isn't a mystic third option. Yeah. I myself have learned to be thoroughly okay with, I'm not going to get up and go to the gym. I'm okay with that.
Well, see, like, I like going to the gym. I enjoy it. But like this morning, normally I'm on the elliptical, or I hate treadmills. And I have a reason I hate them, and it's mainly because they're overused at gyms. But when you step on them, and like I still weigh 250 pounds. And if I step on it just the wrong way, it'll slide fucking forward.
Yeah.
And then it's like defeating the purpose of being a treadmill, and you don't get reverse points for stopping it. But it makes that horrible noise where it's just like every step you take, you're reminded that you're a little heavier than this was originally designed for.
Well, no, they make that noise no matter what size weight person is on it.
Well, it's enough to it discourages me.
Yeah, that's why people wear headphones.
I don't. I like to listen to what's right behind me, though. I'm always assuming that a ninja's going to come out.
You wouldn't hear a ninja whether you were wearing headphones or not.
Yes, you would.
You would hear a Sasquatch. If you said a Sasquatch was behind me, I'd be like, yeah.
Imagine being clubbed to death by a Sasquatch.
But then also, you can smell a Sasquatch. You don't even need to
smell these nasty fucking people at this gym, too. And I'm going to, you know what, on this podcast right now, let's just clear it up. If you are a doctor in the Shreveport-Bossier area and you go to Planet Fitness and don't wash the fucking machines, fuck you. It's so fucking gross, you sweaty bastards talking about how you don't understand how the world works and you're just sweating all over everything, and I'm watching you, and I know people that you're their doctor. You're digging in their vaginas and their hearts and their fucking faces and eyes and all this other shit.
Hopefully not all one doctor is doing that.
Well, I mean, if it's a general, they can dig in anything they want to.
Fair point. Not vaginas, though. Vaginas, that's...
No.
You got to be card-carrying certified to dig around in vaginas.
Look.
General practitioners don't do...
well, okay,
gynecology.
So you cannot dig in a vagina if you're a general practitioner. But
unless that's your wife or girlfriend or mistress on the side.
You can dig in a dude's ass if you're a general.
Yeah, you can.
Because
you can root around in there all day, every day.
I don't know how many, like I went to a velocity care once because I swole up like like Veruga.
Mm-hmm.
Like I turned into a blueberry. And what it was is there was a stop up on 20. And so the guy comes in there, and thank God he had little hands, but he just slapped this, and he's like, yep, I know how we're going to have to do this. And I looked at him, and I'm like, do we have a plan?
Do I stock up on supplies first? Like,
is that
can I visit the potion seller?
That's your intro? Oh, I saw a funny meme that showed, like, it was, because you know me, I've got to follow stuff like Legends of Zelda memes.
Yeah.
Where it's...
Oh, dude, I just got
Excuse me, fellas. A general practice doctor can do general gynecology.
I don't even know what the fuck general gynecology is. That's basically looking at it and seeing if there's sores.
It opens up.
That's a vagina.
Tight. Don't smell bad. I think you're good.
And that was Johnny Gates sticking his nose in this. Well, they all thought you were dead.
Fact checking.
They all thought you were dead. We told them you weren't.
I'm right here.
We told them you were being a father, and you know, I was out of town, and we just figured we'd go ahead and start catching up on some of these.
Now y'all are good. I'm fact checking for you.
Yeah, good.
Trying to do Gabby's job for it.
Gabby's checking shit over there with his face. He's like, really? You can be a general proctologist? That sounds like a terrible job. What the fuck happened? Okay. Gabby's slipping over there. Well, I mean, I did the same thing you did. I didn't give him the mouse. And not to mention, I can only get one camera to work. I'm serious.
Just the one.
All 3 connections, no worky. And I don't know.
Well, how long is it? Do we want to call this an episode and then get another episode going where Johnny's roped in?
No, we're gonna do another Johnny episode. This is just us. For
okay, this is just us.
Yep.
I'll be in the background.
Now I feel special.
You should.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny said, look, some days, you know, the schedules aren't going to do, and we'll just have to we'll just pull in the rock star, David Allen.
No, just any old ragamuffin that's just going around.
So, what did I hear about? I heard something, and I'd love your opinion on it, but now I forgot exactly what the fuck it was.
Okay, was it about dating sites?
No, okay, Wendy Williams. Now, we're comedians.
Yeah.
And we know when a joke doesn't fall.
Yeah.
Or it just falls flat.
Yeah.
Wendy Williams got up there. Now, she just recently got in trouble for making fun of Joaquin Phoenix's hair lip.
And she farted.
And she farted, and she had, like, the dick shot that's not a dick shot. We found that out, but close enough. So, anyway, my question is, she made a joke. You know, Drew Carey dated this doctor, and the doctor's boy...
Passed away.
Yeah, she got killed.
Mm-hmm.
She got thrown off a 3rd-story balcony.
Mm-hmm.
She made the joke where she looked up and said, and come on down, and then looked down like the woman hit the ground. And the entire audience just like, no, like, it's like, you even hear one guy go, my point is, like, when do we let, like, none of her writers told her that was a bad idea?
Here's the thing. Amidst a group of comics who are very, very cynical and very, very wrong in all ways.
We can see the humor in that.
Yeah. Like, if you're surrounded by a bunch of comics, yeah, that's going to sound fucking hilarious.
But you wouldn't say that in front of anybody.
Here's the thing, if you live in and this actually goes on to a larger point, if you live in nothing but a bubble where everybody is telling you that's great, you're not going to think it's not great.
Right. So
I think that's one of the side effects that happen.
Well, Johnny was telling me on another podcast that George Carlin had filmed a fucking, like, 2 specials, basically, on September 9th and 10th of 2011 and never released them.
And it's called I Love It When a Lot of People Die.
Yeah.
Right.
And he recorded it on September 9th and 10th of 2001.
Yeah.
But do you think he should have released it?
Here's the thing. I don't... Well, if he filmed it that night, that means that it would have been released, maybe
December,
3 months after?
Probably December.
Yeah, December? Yeah, that would have been fine.
Right. But I'm saying, here's my thing. Now, because of his age, at the time he did it, do you think that maybe he was just like, nah, I'm just not in the mood to deal with any of this bullshit? Because I know, like, as a younger comic, I'd still put the fucking album out.
Well, here's the thing I truly think happened. Here's what I think happened. I think that after they filmed it, they were probably going to jump into editing and getting everything ready after that. Then 9/11 happened. And, I mean, we all remember, like, the nation kind of stopped for about a month or two.
Oh, yeah.
And so, with how much he writes and how much he performs, I think he came back from that, like, 2 months later, looking at editing that, and was like, none of this is relevant anymore. We live in now a post-9/11 world. I'm going to have to write some post-9/11 jokes.
See, that's okay. That makes
That's
a lot
Very reasonable.
Yeah, because I think that's more of a Carlin mindset than, oh my God, what if this upsets people?
No, not if it upsets with people. I mean, there are some times that I think about saying something on Twitter, and I'm just like, fuck, I don't want to deal with them. Because, like, today, this guy goes, we all have one of those friends that reminds us that armbands are still a thing. And so my rebuttal to
Tattoos?
that, armbands, like Live
The
Strong,
little rubbery things,
like
you
Live
know,
Strong. My point was,
things that don't do anything.
my point was, yeah, I know I'm showing him, but like I said, yeah, and since we buried him with him, he will keep him, he'll keep that alive forever. That's a rubber band.
That's a rubber band.
A little bit.
Not the
Just trying
same.
to annoy you.
I'm aware.
The rubber band man.
So okay. So while we're on the subject, well, we don't have to talk about that. Did you go to the open mic?
I did.
Okay.
How was it?
I noticed.
What?
But there was only like 5 of us.
Oh, well, I ain't gonna lie to you. I wasn't gonna perform when I'm sitting up there performing, fucking sacrilege at the house. I was too busy throwing up whatever evil hell spawn. I eat so healthy now that if I eat greasy good brisket like I did Sunday, I'm done.
Like I said, I've kind of accepted the fact that I'm I'm never gonna be put back on that stage again. So
Hey, I'm not gonna lie to you. Whenever I fucked up over there, I thought for sure they'd never let me come back. But I don't. I think that honestly, once again, that falls into the category of family business, and that we should discuss it with the family,
yeah,
comic family.
I got you.
And does he come back?
I have no idea if there's any bad blood up there. For either.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing but they're being very ambiguous.
yeah,
They don't want to let you know. We don't want to know. Kind of. I don't know.
yeah. Like it's all very
So let me ask you another question, and I'm not calling anybody out.
Okay.
I refuse to do that. Now, whenever we were younger in comedy,
yeah,
and we would go on the road with other comics.
yeah.
Okay? Now, a lot of us have day jobs where we have to do something. Now, if you're riding with an older comic, is it a douchebag move if he just has a job, but you know that this guy is a bona fide partier when you signed up to do the show with him?
Mm-hmm.
How do you handle that situation? Do you ride or die it? Because like every time, see, I guess me and you were in a different world. Like, however hard you wanted to party,
Yeah.
since we were in your vehicle, is how hard we fucking partied.
Yeah.
We didn't leave if David wasn't ready to leave.
Well, I also
I'm just asking.
yeah. Well, I think because I at the very least tried to be somewhat considerate.
Well,
like,
no, I'm what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that.
Oh, I know you're not calling me out, but what I'm saying is like it is the duty of the person whose car it is to be respectful of those that came with them.
So,
Because you all made this trip together for this purpose.
But it's also their responsibility to be respectful to you and not be like, hey, man, we just finished. Let's go.
yeah, that's where compromise comes in.
So here's my question. So say you were supposed to do a show in Monroe, and because you were combating Mardi Gras, nobody showed up except for 2 people that came to see you.
Yeah.
So they say, let's go do something after. Now, they don't call the show till 45 minutes after it was supposed to start anyway.
Yeah.
Okay?
Call it as in like we're not doing it.
Yeah, we're not doing it. They paid me driving to Monroe money, which was beautiful of them, and I shout out to Daniel for always being a stand-up businessman.
Good job, D.
And it was just a scheduling error. Mardi Gras is incredibly hard to
Do anything with.
Well, if you have a town that does Mardi Gras parades,
yeah.
Say unless you're in Oklahoma City.
probably maybe the Friday before.
Well, it's not just that. Like the Mardi Gras parades, it's not just, oh, what if people don't go to the Mardi Gras parades? Nobody's going to want to deal with that traffic.
Facts. So so my point was so then we decided we're going to go hit a bar, and so we did. Now the show, so we don't leave the bar that we were at to do the show until like 10:45, 11:07, something in there.
Yeah.
So we already know it's going to be a late night. About an hour and a half. Now these people drove an hour and a half to see this show that they didn't get to see.
Yeah.
And even though they're friends of mine, they still traveled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So 12:30, I understand we have an hour and a half drive, but
But they want to keep going.
no, I wanted to keep going.
You want to keep going.
Because I've got my friends there and stuff
Yeah.
like that. and I understand. And so we ended up compromising on one last drink. But I it was just a different thing, is what I'm saying. When I was younger, it just didn't even get brought up.
Well, when we were all younger, I mean, naturally, you go till the sun rises.
No. I'm talking about the person you're riding with.
Oh.
I'm not bitching at all. I understand, because by the time I got home, we were exhausted.
Yeah.
But, hindsight's 20/20. But my point is, at the time, we were having a good time, but that's what I'm saying is when did there was a time, like, I remember I would be shit fucking exhausted, but I rode with you, and yes, you were considerate, but drunk you is not as considerate as sober you.
Obviously not.
And so we'd be
Nobody
leaving
can make that
Lafayette
claim.
at like fucking 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And David's like, Glenn, keys. And then I'm trying not to kill us on the way home.
Yeah.
You know how you combat that, right?
Don't invite him.
No, you just drive. Just drive yourself.
It's a lot more efficient when 4 comics pile into one car.
Give you that. But if you're riding with me and I want to leave as soon as the show's over with, you're going to be mad at me for wanting to leave.
Well, I think
But
that maybe
if you drove and I wanted to leave, I can't be mad at you. Know what I mean? Like, so that's the way you just drive yourself. Now, me personally, if I'd have driven down there and y'all wanted to keep partying, that's why I drove. I'm going to go sleep in my truck. Wait on y'all. Y'all just wake me up this time.
Well, no, like when we went to Mount Pleasant,
Yeah.
if we wanted to hang out, like say it was bumping, you even told us, hey, look, y'all want to hang out? You said there's a certain time when I know I'm going to get tired and I'm going to have to sleep before we leave. But if y'all, you were like, if y'all want to drink and y'all want to have a good time, we're out of town.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm saying. I don't.
No, like that's what I would have done.
Well, no,
is
I'm the
I'll just
same way.
sleep in the fucking
We live-
truck. Y'all
we
wake
li-
me up when y'all ready to go.
I think you said it the other night. We live in the age of Netflix, though. Like, you can Netflix on your phone and go to sleep
Yeah.
in the fucking car.
Yeah.
And there is no issue here anymore. But, no, I think that also if maybe in the future, before I invite somebody to ride with me, I should let them know, hey, by the way,
Yeah.
there's about a 3-hour after show cool down before I drive home.
Yeah.
And that's standard for me on because normally I have a hotel room. And if I have a hotel room, you can ask David. We're not fucking.
Yeah.
We're gonna shut every fucking bar down we can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
and I'd be back at the hotel room sleeping. Y'all
Yeah.
go for it. I'll see y'all in the morning when we drive back.
But we also, me and
and
you've
we
always
show up with fat bitches, get some of that Monroe Strange.
Yeah, y'all just don't get it on me. Like,
Well, no,
my
my
clothes are over there in that bag. Don't get any on it. All right?
Well, like I mean, I'm not. It's not.
We
I
wipe it on the
just-
curtains like gentlemen.
like
Well,
gentlemen, yeah, that's
I've heard a few comics that have talked about the fact that they don't. Some of us older partiers. It's like you release the Kraken and we get to fucking get out of the house a little bit.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh God, I just want to do the show and go home. But boy, this guy, he just wants to go forever.
Yeah.
But you hear these stories about like Rogan and fucking Joey Diaz, and it's like, we went till fucking Tuesday. Like, and like, but that's what I grew up in comedy was
Yeah.
the guy that was like, we're gonna fucking, it's go time.
Yeah, like the comic gets done with the show, and then you party, because he doesn't have to be at work till 9 o'clock in the evening next day.
We all have to be at work at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning, but we still did it, and we didn't bitch about it. That was, I don't know, it was just this, it was noticing that the age gap in some of these comics and myself, where even though I am 34, I still have that go hard mentality of,
Well, I think that the age gap for that specifically has to deal with like the level that like you. I think it's a kind of like almost like competitive energy
yeah.
that where it's just like I want to go this hard. I want to have this fucking moment. Like
Well,
I
so-
want to, and like now everybody's just like, I could just sleep, just watch Netflix. I can have the world at my fingertips.
Somebody brought something to
They'll
my
deliver it,
attention
don't worry
because
about
I
it.
was asking to somebody else about it, was the fact that maybe say you invite a comic that's a more introvert, and we both know that I'm
Extroverted.
I'm a big personality to deal with, and if I'm drinking, I'm an even bigger personality. And so he was like, well, what if he just, maybe he had enough? And then I thought about that, and that's when I think that maybe if I'm going to do these longer gigs, we just book a room for them to go chill in.
Yeah.
And I'll just go do my own shit.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's because like
Also, did you hear that Waiter is changing to what, commission based?
Yeah, they're firing all their drivers on April 6th or whatever, and then telling them if they want to come back, they can be
Independent contractor.
Independent contractor. It's and I can dive into that if you want me to.
No, I was just asking you for
I
her.
heard about
We'll
it,
talk about it on the next podcast.
Yeah, they have there's a whole thing I have a whole theory behind it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And
Well, we'll talk about that.
Sense.
That'll be an update. But what I'm saying is, like, there's just been a lot of games that have changed as far as...
and I think it is because, like, again, like, even though it's not as big of an age gap, but just the age gap that is there, remember, like, with, like, us growing up, like, if you wanted...
I love that we talk about us in our mid-20s as growing up.
Well, that's how much the game has changed in a short time, and I'll explain why. Because you got to remember, us growing up, if you wanted drugs, if you wanted pussy,
You had to work for them.
if you wanted to, you know, like, really have an experience, you had to go out and do it. And not just go out and do it. You had to make it happen. You had to be charming. You had to be funny. You had to rope people in. You had to assemble people.
You had to
You had to have the
prepare
balls
for...
to ask that old man if he'd buy you a case of beer as he walked into Circle K.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you'd also have to have the fucking gonads to handle it if shit went down.
Yeah. And things would go wrong all the time, and you had to adapt to that. Now, if you want pussy, there's an app on your phone. If you want booze, there's an app on your phone. You want an experience, you just strap your phone to your face. You live that experience for however much you need. Like, you can get drugs, you can get women, you can get whatever you want just by just a few clicks on the phone.
So the other thing that I was talking about, the being, like, for a person that terrified, because, like, myself, to be, you know, if you were, you know, just thrown back into the singles game,
Yeah.
is the fact that someone my age, and I say my age, and it's my mental age in the sense of I don't use my phone for finding anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how a person would go about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't have any interest if I were to be chunked back in that for, you know, finding like Tinder or all that other shit. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
That wouldn't interest me at all.
No.
I'd rather do it the old-fashioned way when a woman finds you thumping a melon. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, what are you doing with that melon? And you teach her something.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, but I wouldn't know. I wouldn't even know where to start. And like I have a 17-year-old adopted son, is what I call him. And this son of a bitch is always trying to ask me advice. And I'm like, the fucking game has changed so
Yeah.
much.
And it's so fast that the game has changed to where, like, now that's it. Like, you just sit on your phone and you want laughs, it produces laughs. You want pussy, it produces drug, food, whatever you want. As long as you're willing to click something on your phone will produce whatever you want.
Well, the
Do I want
problem
to
is,
download this app?
well, no, I gave him fucking bad advice because I was like, confidence is key. Well, then they told him he was cocky and they treat him like shit now. But when did confidence become uncool? When did it? And I'm not talking about like, oh, I'm the greatest. I'm talking about like, you know, walking with your head held high, you know, stuff like that. You know, knowing what you're competent at, and knowing what you're not good at.
Being able to walk up to a girl and just be like, hey, I think you're really pretty. What do you say, get a couple of drinks, talk it out, see where this, see if we like each other.
Yeah, you do that now, and they're going to be like, he touched me.
Hey, do you know where the bathroom is? I really need to take a shit.
That's confidence.
Be right back.
That's nothing but...
That is straight up, that is dump confidence.
There was it was either
That's the
I
name
can't
of your
remember if it was
first
a
album.
podcast that I listened to or what it was, but there was it may have been on Opie and Anthony. There was a woman that was talking about, she teaches guys how to, like, basically hit on women, and it's all about confidence. And her sales pitch is that by the time it's done, the line that you're going to use on your final test is, excuse me, do you know where the bathroom is? I need to take a shit. And then you will get that girl's number.
One night, me and David were sitting at a bar with some other comedians, and the Bud Light girls came in. And they're all in their bikinis, and they're trying to convince me that I want to try 60-calorie beer, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
And I have a pitcher in front of me. No fucking singles. I drank straight out of a pitcher. Yeah. And so anyway, she walks up and she's like, I really want you to try it. And she was pretty, so I just dumped it into my other beer, followed by David going, you're really pretty. You want to go grab a pizza and fuck? And the girl looked at her and he goes, what, you don't like pizza? and she wrote her fucking number down and handed it to him, and I was like, there's no fucking way that just worked.
They're very clever.
Yeah, it's well, no, it's so easy and classic. Like it's just everybody's hurt. It's like fucking,
But
4 drinks in, what do you got to lose?
But it fucking worked, and you just see this, like, very seldom am I at a loss for words. But I was like, there's no fucking way that just fucking worked.
Because here's the thing, it used to be novel. It used to be like a thing where, like pretty girls back in the day, they, what a lot of guys don't understand is like, if you were a truly beautiful woman, a lot of guys would either assume you had a boyfriend or would be very intimidated. A lot of guys just wouldn't say stuff to you.
Right.
And so, like, it was very novel just to have people talk to you in that way. And you just thought, that was funny. Well, I want more funny in my life.
We were sitting there one night, and some other comic was talking to us about the fact that, because I'm not bragging or anything, and I'm pretty sure you were decent with the lady folks. But we weren't bad at it, Mm-hmm. And the thing is they're like, I don't know what to say with them. And I'm like, why don't you try hello? Like,
whatever you want.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, like you were saying, like typically pretty girls don't get hit on because people are too intimidated by it. So when you do, it's,
yeah.
Oh, really, me? Okay.
Yeah.
The one that got me was
they're
always
insecure.
that big
They're
girl.
just as insecure as you are.
But you got to remember
protecting
the switch to that now is that pretty girls get hit on all the time. The only problem is they get hit on in huge amounts through Tinder, through Instagram, through all this.
Right.
So now they're just flooded with this constant, like, hey, you want to suck my dick? Hey, you want to suck my dick? Hey, you want to suck my dick?
To her vagina.
Yeah. And it's just nothing but dudes just be like, hey, I saw your picture and it made my dick hard. Can I put my hard
And
dick?
have you seen some of the ways that these? I mean, like, man, the fearless nature of people on fucking messengers and shit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's
The shit that they fucking say.
You're not face to face. I guarantee, not one of these fucks would say that face to face to anybody ever.
No, that's what I'm saying is, like, I have a cousin of mine, shout out Erica, you sweet, lovely human you.
Hello.
She's a sweetheart, but she's unfortunately, she's a pretty girl, and me and her were talking, and she gave me this, like, synopsis of being catcalled and how exhausting it is to be beautiful. She's like, Glenn, you are a good-looking man, but and she goes, and I'm sure that you've had your fair, don't you say shit. I know you're thinking of something nasty to say about my looks and hurt my feelings.
Absolutely not.
Anyway, but she was saying...
You're a beautiful man. If I was a girl, I'd fuck you.
Gross.
How's that?
That was sweet.
Whoa.
If I was a woman, let's be perfectly honest, our relationship would be really fucking weird where we'd like hate each other for 6 months and then fuck for another 6 months, write some killer jokes and sets, and then hate each other but still do shows all the time for 6 months.
I'm gonna be honest with you, David.
Why you fucking with my man?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. You don't have a vagina, and that's our relationship is. I don't hear from you for months on end, and then I'll get like an everyday text. You doing okay today, buddy? Have you done something nice for yourself? And I'm like, the fuck happened? Like just literally 3 weeks ago, you didn't. I could have died and you wouldn't know. But we have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
We've been married.
To be fair,
comedy married for
yeah.
I'm the longest relationship you've ever had.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like
that and herpes.
But that's the thing, like
he doesn't talk about her.
Yeah. I mean, not with my wife sitting right here. But no, that's the thing, like
that bitch has ruined more shit.
Like I realized, it's something I wanted to talk about on the new podcast I'm gonna launch soon. About like the way that depression influences your relationships, where you will just like stop communicating with people for months at a time, and everybody thinks that you're a dick about it, but the thing about it is you feel like you would be more of a dick if you did communicate with people.
So can I ask this is a weird question when it talks about communication. So I have friends that I've had for like 15 or 20 fucking years now.
Yeah.
And I love them. And when I get to see them, I love to see them. But I do not enjoy talking to them over like a virtual space.
Yeah.
And it's like I shut down. And the thing is in my mind, I know everybody's so busy. But like when you have something big go on in your life, and then those are the ones that aren't reaching out whenever it's so accessible, it makes me question old friendships, like, oh God. And you know they have shit going on. But I mean, and
that's the thing you can't discount is you have no idea what somebody's got.
Right, but
everybody's got their own life.
But I'm talking about just I'm talking about your personal thoughts when you're sitting there thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you're like, gee, you couldn't spend 5 seconds. But then you also know that the minute that you hit somebody with 5 seconds of, hey, how are you? It's going to be 40 fucking texts. And then like me, I prefer just to text the short and get it over with because I hate talking on the phone. Talking on the phone unless I have to.
And I honestly think that's kind of another thing that's kind of creeping up. Where
I didn't like talking on the phone when that was the only way to do it.
But here's the thing. Look
you
at
hang up first.
Look at your text interactions with people.
I hate to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Would you say that again?
No, you hang up first. Hello?
Yeah, that's.
Hello?
I was so ready for that to come out of somebody's mouth. You hang up first, click.
But you were talking about text interactions with people.
Yeah, like honestly, look at your text interactions with people. Like, look at them cold, sober light of day. Do you actually enjoy or get a lot out of text conversations with people?
Depends on the person.
Okay.
Because like I said, me and you are close. So when I get a text from you, I'm like, oh, and I will light up for a few seconds, but it takes no time for him, like after the, like, how are you? What are you doing? What's your plans? That it does become mundane.
Exactly.
And it's not just you. It's like, but then I
Everybody.
also have people that when you know that they just want something.
Hey, what you doing, man? I'm just working. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. What's
Like
up?
there's a guy that's on my
nothing, just checking
Facebook.
on you.
He's one of those
$200.
self-proclaimed. He's one of those self-proclaimed. He's gonna make $1 million by selling garbage out of his bucket or some
Yeah.
shit. And man, I hate messaging him. Because if he messages me, it starts off with, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, I'm doing good. By the way, why don't you come to my seminar I'm hosting? And I'm like, fuck.
It's only $49.99 at the door.
I was like,
But I can get it to you for 30.
and the thing was, is he used to come to a lot of our comedy shows and shit, and he was a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember us having good conversations with him.
Who is it?
I'll tell you later.
Yeah. But no, that's the thing. It's like nobody, like very few people, I will say, not always, because I've had a few text
You're gonna write it down. Who is it?
Because I've had a few text conversations with people that have lasted a long time and have like been very, very cool. But like the ratio of like all the text conversations, nobody likes text conversations.
No, not him.
But that's the thing. Nobody likes text conversations. And like
I
nobody's
never-
accepting that fact.
I never understood sexting.
That's the only good text conversation. Show me your titties. All right.
No, because here's the thing. This is gonna make me sound like Methuselah. Do you want to know? So here's what you've done. If you show me your tits and or vagina,
Okay.
you've allowed me to see the secret, and then I can be disinterested because there's no
But
secret.
everybody wants to taste the rainbow.
Not true. You remember
Well-
back when I was younger and you had to like Yahoo, like you had to fucking be in a chat thing and you went to your little private thing and she'd send you this one pixelated picture that just downloaded so fucking slow and you started at the shoulders and you're like, oh man, those are some good looking shoulders. And then you get to the cleavage and like, hell yeah. And then you get down to the belly button like looking good. And then you're like, oh Jesus, it's the worst fucking vagina in the My point is,
That was a penis, Glenn.
it was so bulgy and veiny. Anyway, my point is,
circumcised.
mine's what's wrong with that?
Can I tell
What
you-
about those of us? We didn't have a choice in the matter. You have all these people who
I
are
think
like,
that's kind of wrong that nobody gets a choice whether they're
Hey,
circumcised
I'm
or
tell
not.
you right now, I don't want to make that choice at 18 years old. You know, because what if I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Ah!
my point is those of us that, oh, your dick is cut. Like, what? So?
Still didn't work. Breathe.
My point is like, I don't want to be judged.
Who has ever said that?
Oh, I'm telling you right now, we were talking about the fact that he wants to start a fucking internet war, and I told him all he'd have to do is get on Twitter and put squares are square. People would get in an uproar.
Well, I mean, if you shave off the corners, you know.
Told you.
one
See?
thing
How
that-
dare you identify what those squares are? Let them
yeah.
tell you what they
What
are.
if they're
God.
what if one corner's a 90?
Is
and the
it
other one's
really-
92?
Like, the
I mean,
problem
you don't
is-
know.
I think that the only reason
Jesus.
anybody would build a time machine is because if they were like, "Fuck, where this went," they didn't do it to change the world. They just did it to never be here.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If I had a time machine that you could like watch what's going on outside the window, right? I would go back to the Grand Canyon and just throw that bitch in reverse and watch it fill up with dirt. That'd be the only thing I'd want to do.
That's
It's a long time to sit
Man,
there.
I got a lever that makes me go fast. Oh, look, it's like a time.
Knowing your
You know
luck,
that
he'd
they-
be like that fucking time machine movie where he broke the lever
yeah.
and he went back to a
Or I
civilization.
picked the one spot where the biggest dinosaur dropped the biggest deuce, and then my vision is covered and I can't see nothing.
That movie got terrible reviews, but the time travel part was so fucking cool.
You
Yeah.
talking about the time machine?
Yeah.
The remake one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I grew up watching the original one.
I know,
and
but
that
what
shit
I'm-
was terrible.
I know, but
loved it.
but what I'm talking about is when they did the remake and you see like all this shit coming up around them.
That's what that.
But
yeah.
here's my question: if you're sitting there and they put a building there, don't you get crushed?
No.
Wouldn't you just be wherever you are in that building? Like you'd be on the third floor.
No, but you
Listen.
just be like in the wood.
No. Here's the way that temporal displacement works.
Oh shit!
Oh God!
You did this.
The,
I just
I
wanted
could have
to.
easily told you about the first video
Yeah.
that I ever downloaded on the internet.
because the thing is that you honestly have to consider is that he's not is that there is a physical essence of the time machine that is existing in all those times. Because otherwise, if it was just a completely static shell where time moved around it, guess what? He would flip the switch and the Earth would literally start swinging around him all the time. But he stayed on Earth, which means that there's a physical corporeal sense there. And with temporal displacement, there's a lot of times where things cannot interact with a self-sustained temporal displacement. Things just cannot interact with it.
Would it only be once he stops? Would you be able to interact with it? Like once you actually stop in the time that you want to be?
Well, that's when people can physically and corporeally interact with it. But the rest of the time, like, forces would just naturally displace anything that would get in the way of it.
Is this for real?
Yeah.
He
It's
said, "Yeah, no, we got time travel down."
it's the temporal displacement theory of time travel. It basically it's sort of like have you ever seen Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Yeah. Doctor Who works off a similar principle where the TARDIS is its own dimension. It's a dimension that sits
That's the phone booth.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a dimension that sits
I haven't seen much of it.
Yeah. It's a dimension that sits outside of the regular dimension.
Because in Bill and Ted, the time machine can get damaged in the time stream.
Well, that's because it wasn't proper. That's because it's moving through the time stream. It's not creating its own separate displacement
But
and
it
moving time around
yeah,
it.
but at the same time, it comes up through the ground without getting damaged. So in that, what does it do? Half and half? I'm being 100% serious because that time machine
Your tone
similar.
of voice is completely different.
No, here's the
No,
way
because
that
you have the TARDIS that doesn't fucking get caught on anything, and then you have that motherfucker that got hit by a pigeon.
Dude, sweet. All right.
no,
Sweet.
no. The atoms that are where the displacement is are in a state of flux.
Is that when you need a capacitor? For
Now,
fluxing?
speaking of that,
Fluxing.
the
So there
Bill
I
and Ted-
was fluxing my.
Bill and Ted's
capacity.
Excellent Adventure Time Machine and the DeLorean both work off the same principle of time travel.
1.21 gigawatts.
No.
I'm on to something here.
No. The fact that he had to use that much power is simply a displacement because he was using kinetic energy in order to create the time differential rather than simply having a sustained differential inside the machine.
Still one of the most overlooked moments in that movie is when he's talking to Thomas Edison's photograph, and he's like, how could I be so careless? 1.21 gigawatts? How could I? Fantastic moment. Makes me laugh every time.
Also, like using a lightning bolt for that kind of wouldn't create the same level of sustained reaction that a nuclear reaction would for the transference of energy. Oh, it's still the same thing up there. Okay, so anyway, excuse me. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and again, the Back to the Future time machines both work off the same principle, where they are actually moving through the time stream.
Right.
Time.
So the TARDIS doesn't move through the time stream?
No, it's its own separate dimension that instead just
Well, that
uses
makes
it uses the one corporeal part of it to generate itself at different points in time.
So now is this the same theory? And I know this is going to make me sound like an idiot, and if we have anybody that's like super nerdy, they're going to get on our
You
ass.
want to write it down and I say it so I sound like the idiot? So
No,
it
I'm
goes with
saying,
the
is
flow?
this the same as throwing like the Enterprise into warp drive?
Yeah, similar. Because the way that the Enterprise warp drive works is that it creates a warp shell around the Enterprise that separates it from normal space. Not a lot.
So if something like, for instance, the DeLorean or the phone booth or the Starship Enterprise, if they're traveling through this at a warp just so fast that they can actually, they're basically moving in time.
Yeah.
And if they hit the smallest thing, wouldn't it tear through the Enterprise like fucking paper?
There's nothing in the time. Okay, so for the Enterprise, you got to remember the warp shell keeps them slightly separated from normal space. So
So they're not going into anything or through anything.
Yeah, they're not going through anything.
All of it's going around them.
Yeah,
Right.
all of it's going around them.
So
now, if they come across something that's so corporeal, like a fucking asteroid, then they would have to
And
stop.
you're telling me in the entire time they've been warping around, they ain't never hit one fucking asteroid.
That's what he's telling you.
Well, you got to remember they have sensors that can sense several light years ahead of them.
You know what pisses me off?
Yeah.
Because I need to know. Me and you were talking about that on the way to work this morning. They have a fucking mosquito trap. They have a mosquito trap that can sense, that has little sensors on it, and whatever breed of mosquito comes in there, they can decide whether or not the trap will come down on it and trap it, if it's a certain breed or species of. What I don't understand is we can have. Thank you. We can have that, but we can't have sensors on the red lights to tell us that nobody's sitting, that we're just waiting on nobody.
Well, that's different.
I can go into that too because I actually know a little bit.
Yeah, one's commercially bought by people. The other one is bought on mass spectrum for a city. And city's not going to spend that kind of money because it's
Well,
relevant.
no, the city lights have sensors on them now, and
They have weight sensors that they put in the ground.
and they also have time sensors
No.
as well.
Yeah, they have
And
time
at a certain
sensor.
point, at a certain point in time, the sensors take over. There's not, and it's weird, but the claim is there's not a single red light in Shreveport Bossier that you will spend longer. I think it was like 80 seconds at a red. Like if you pull up and it's turning red, and there's not a red light in town that you'll spend longer than, it's either 80 or 90 seconds sitting looking at it red.
A minute and a half feels like 13 years.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, no, when you're stopped in
When
the
it's
car,
4
absolutely.
o'clock in the morning and you're trying to
But
get your
depending
little
on-
gay Filipino to work,
Well,
and we
depending on
hit
the
every
intersection-
fucking red light, and we're the only car on Burt Coons. Sorry.
Yeah. But the main reason that the DeLorean or the
yeah, we drifted.
or the Bill and Ted, the Bill and Ted getting damaged in the time stream is because here's the thing: they're not going to hit anything because there's nothing in the time stream. There's no mass in the time stream. They are the only mass in the time stream. But when they're in the time stream, they're still technically not mass.
So what damaged the phone booth?
Oh, it was a
I don't remember.
The top antenna.
yeah. The influx of temporal energy, if it's not shielded properly, can damage sensitive equipment that you're using to regulate the transition between temporal energy and matter.
Shielding.
More shielding. So basically, kids, if you're going to be out there traveling in time, remember, use your condom. Your time traveling condom. Wrap yourself, wrap your components, and always be safe.
Wear clean underwear just in case you get into an accident.
My aunt used to say that along with buckle up.
Buckle up.
So buckle
for
up is just good
safety.
sense. Wear clean underwear. What do you think? These EMTs haven't seen dirty underwear
Hold on,
before?
look,
No, no,
wear
my
clean
point-
underwear
no,
comes from
the-
just good practice. All
No,
right?
well
Wear
that
clean fucking underwear.
well, I mean, if you die, you're gonna shit your pants anyway.
You are.
No, this is actually true.
But That was I always, because I asked my mom about it. I'm like, why would you wear clean underwear? She's like, you don't know if you're going to get them cut off. And I'm like, oh, in case of an emergency.
You know what we realized the other day? I've been debating on whether or not I want to admit this because I don't know if I'm just an idiot.
What's that?
This little piggy thing.
Yeah.
This little piggy went to market.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, it was slaughtered and sold at market.
Never. I was like 2 weeks ago, years old, when made that realization.
You know, you didn't.
I was like, what? This piggy went to market?
It's the biggest toe, isn't it?
Not
Yeah.
the market? Wait a minute. Hold
The
on.
biggest toe.
There's not the word the is not in there?
This little piggy went to market.
Yeah.
This little piggy went home because he's
Yeah.
too small.
too
This
small.
little piggy had roast beef.
I get it now.
And the other one's dying because he's tiny. And the last one ran home because his mother just got slaughtered at market.
Yeah.
I always thought the word the was in there.
Have you not, like, go back and read Humpty Dumpty. It's not a happy
I remember him
story.
sitting on a wall, and then he had a great fall.
And they couldn't put him
all
back
the king's
together.
horses and all the king's men had trouble putting him back together again.
You know what that is?
I don't
You know
think
what-
they could do it,
Do you
actually.
know what that's a fairy tale about? A broken individual that nobody could
suicide?
help.
Yeah, because there's nothing in there that says Humpty Dumpty's an egg.
That's true.
Well, I mean, the cartoon illustrates that he's an egg.
Well, right, but it could have just been a fat, damaged person with mental disease.
Way to make it very, very sad.
Well, this was a Brothers Grimm like fairy tale. They were all fucked
I
up.
mean, I understand that.
I mean, you do know the witch ate children, right?
I mean, I've been told.
And then the kids burned her alive out of malice and spite.
And fear.
Some fear,
Some
malice
fear.
and spite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
All right, we're on
They
that.
were murderers to begin with. That's why their family abandoned them in the woods.
So you got a show this weekend?
All right.
Yeah, I do have a show this weekend. I am performing with a very handsome young fella.
Yeah. Who's that guy?
That would be you.
Whoa, that's us.
And it'd actually be I just now realized this. It'll be a rematch.
It'll be a rematch.
Oh, is this
It will be.
the drunk, stone, sober?
Yeah,
Yeah.
me and David Allen haven't gone toe to toe in
Yeah,
a
we-
competition in quite a minute.
We haven't.
Now here's the thing.
the sweet science.
Here's the science behind this. We're talking about time machines. Is David's got a distinct advantage over me in this competition.
Yeah. I chose the winning team.
He chose the winning team.
Drunk.
Yeah, because we're the best looking and the best dancers.
It's the home team, too, for bars.
Yeah.
Right.
In Texas, we're...
Well, see, and I have to. I told him, I said, we really got to go over the rules, because is it stone sober? Like I can't have anything, because it takes a pretty impressive amount to get me to where I would be considered drunk.
You know, you have to be sober.
Well, then that's no fun. What am I going to sit there and
That's-
sip on
I
Diet
think
Cokes?
That's the point of the challenge.
Well, I am plenty of fun sober.
Well, bring your A game.
You know, you're gonna have to sneak me alcohol, because
Yeah.
Double A
otherwise.
game. You can't do that. That's called being dishonest.
No,
and
it's
deceitful.
called being
know
in
how
the
many
NFL, juicing the
Do
winners.
you know how many?
He'll get his own
listeners
respect.
You know how many listeners we have out there? Out of
77.
the thousands and thousands and thousands of people that listen to this, that'll be just sad and disappointed in you if you.
If y'all would be sad. Oh, by the way, we have to look through our comments. Local comedian and all around nice guy, Zachary Burr,
Right.
posted on some things that might help us get a little bit more organized with this podcast.
Fucking A, I
yeah,
love it.
yeah, he.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, he's looking out for us. It basically gives it's for that podcast y'all.
Have you
do.
read it yet? Does it say something like, y'all just stop? It'll be fine.
No. He basically, because whenever we had the little bump, the hiccup in the Matrix,
100% my fault.
yeah, he was like, hey, I'm up to episode 25. Or y'all didn't quit, did you?
Dude, I can't even post I can't post the 2 audio onlys to YouTube at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they won't let me upload.
Well, then they need to go to
audio
Spotify.
It will not let me upload.
Well,
the
no,
audio
what you do is you
platform.
just create a just a quick backdrop image of just like screensaver images going through some stuff, maybe some meat, and then like just
Just put them on a
Create
never
that.
ending. Yeah, we'll have to. We'll figure that out.
I'd have to.
Because 27 and 28 are pretty good episodes.
I'd have to put it in my video editing software and add.
yeah. Let me know if you need anything. I'll help you out with it.
Let me. Have you not listened to a single fucking episode?
No, he doesn't. You know that.
Well,
No, I've listened to the one with Tristan on it, and I've listened to half of a few others. But I mean,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I really enjoyed the one with Aiden. Me and you did a lot of laughing in that one. That was a good time.
I'm gonna go ahead and watch that one then.
No, I'm talking about like we did 2 with him. We had so much fun the first one. We did another one where he wasn't just a guest; he was just sitting in. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we were giggling our asses off, and it was you could tell that it was just a really fun time. But other than that, yes, we have that show this weekend, and we're gonna kick ass at that. And then next weekend, I have the Doghouse in Ruston.
and where is the show in Lafayette?
The worst beer garden.
The worst beer garden?
Yeah, it's spelled real Germany.
Yeah. Like, another shout out to
Like-
Zachary Bureau. He's going to be resurrecting what was formerly our Let's Play channel, Shaving a Haircut. He's keeping Shaving a Haircut, and he's going to be doing it with his girlfriend.
Well, no, that's what he was telling me, that he was using I think it was Skillshare.
What is this, a podcast, a YouTube
It's a
channel?
Let's
What is
Play
it?
channel.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
A Let's Play channel is where you are playing a video game, and then you basically talk about the game or just whatever, kind of while it's going on.
No, okay.
And we did
Is
Shaving.
that on Twitch or something?
No,
I've
it's
heard
on
of
YouTube.
Twitch. It's on YouTube, okay.
Yeah, no, Shaving a Haircut is on YouTube. Me and him did roughly about, I think, 500-600 episodes of it.
Bless.
And then we stopped, and now he's gonna bring it back with his girl.
And
She's a
where can you see
sweetheart.
that at?
At Shave Cut Channel is if you wanted to follow them on Twitter. Shaving a Haircut Gaming, I think, is the best way to search it on YouTube. But yeah, Shaving a Haircut Let's Play channel.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to cut this video off. Y'all like, subscribe, share, and all that other cool jazz. And
Share's coming. What?
yeah.
Whoa.
Right before we finish, you just blow ass and
Somebody
point
say
it
my
at me?
name? I
We
said
we
it.
actually
Jesus Christ.
synchronized
You know what?
farted earlier.
We had a moment.
See y'all
earlier.
later.